this match. Olszewski mentioned she was, good right hand by Moreno, that she was a New York Knicks dancer for a couple years in the early 90s, and she never had to face this kind of pressure doing that.
She just ate 9 unanswered punches from Moreno. Al, she's not throwing anything.
Yeah, she's tired, and her hands are low, and Moreno is jabbing her way in, which is helping her immensely.
And Moreno has fought in this arena before. She's very familiar with the surroundings in Albuquerque. If there's any altitude issues, she knew what they were coming in and knew whether they would affect her or not. And obviously they're not. But to me, this is not the Eileen Olszewski that we've seen in the past, certainly not from a stamina point of view.
She's having a tough outing, and Moreno's jab is a real headline in this match.
Big round for Moreno.
Stop!
Stepping back with your front leg.
Carina Moreno has really taken the advice of her corner. Now there's the overhand right, but she follows with the jab. Usually you'd start with the jab, but she's been, and this really a good indication of what Carina Moreno is capable of as a fighter. Very nice combinations, utilizing a number of different punches there.
Do you understand what I said? You're reaching with a jab. Short it up and snap it. Pop, pop, pop.
Close your mouth, close your mouth.
That worked perfect, okay? And 1, 2, 3, shorten up the jab. 1, 2, 3, step in.
Don't stay in front of her.
Round 7 coming out.
She grabs you like that circular and throws.
Let's go, seconds out.
Okay? You got to win these last 4.
Box.
Round 7, this is again scheduled for 10. World title for the Junior Flyweight Championship at stake.
You know, we mentioned at the beginning that Moreno was moving up in weight, Olszewski moving down. Would it be a factor? Well, it hasn't been so far for Moreno, at least in terms of she's the one that looks the more powerful of the two at this juncture.
And Al, I was listening in the corner of Olszewski between rounds, and it seems that the instructions they're giving her are more emotional than technical. And I think that's a big problem here too.
Well, you know, they need some fire for her, and yeah, there's not a lot coming in the way of technique advice, but you know, I think they had the plan they wanted, and she just has not been able to execute it. Good right hand a moment ago by Moreno as she came in with the overhand right. That punch has been a very effective one.
Olszewski's not throwing anything to keep Moreno off her. Moreno just being able to walk in, having a very good first minute here of round number 7.
You know, we mentioned Moreno ended up with actually a loss to Wendy Rodriguez, though it was due to cuts. Ironically, she beat Holly Dunaway, who we'll be seeing in our next match, did Moreno in a very close decision, and ironically lost to Rodriguez, beat Dunaway, and yet Dunaway beat Rodriguez. So you never know.
I was here the night that Moreno fought Holly Dunaway, and she looked brilliant that night, right in this very ring.
Yeah, she's really, when she's on her game, Carina Moreno is really one of the best women fighters. She was named the WBC Fighter of the Year last year, so that's an indication.
And again, at this point in women's boxing, it's funny to consider her a veteran, but she started back in July of 2003, was her first pro fight.
At 26 years of age, she's had 18 already, and in addition to boxing, she's studying jiu-jitsu, wants to do some MMA, but she'll do some good work in boxing before she's done.
Punch out, punch out.
Another stellar round for Moreno.
Break.
Take 3 deep breaths. What round is this? 8, 9, 10.
This is Diane, making noise round number 8. Brought to you
Give me some
by
focus here.
Prego Metal Systems. Prego Metal Systems bringing you round.
There's Holly Dunaway, who we were talking about, getting ready for her rematch with Wendy Rodriguez. She won it the first time. She'd also like to get back in with Carina Moreno. Not happy, obviously, with her performance the first time they fought, with Moreno winning that fight.
23-year-old who has shown lots and lots of talent already. You mentioned a youngster. She's got 27 pro fights already at age 23, so she is a veteran of this sport.
wipe that up. Fox.
Round number 8. This is scheduled for 10, and in between rounds, got a chance to listen into Rick Noble, and he actually feels right now that Carina Moreno could move in here and stop Eileen Olszewski.
Olszewski is certainly showing signs of fatigue as Moreno, boosts her margin, at least on my scorecard, which is quite unofficial. But, with the body work Moreno's done and some of the punches she's landed already, there is the chance, I think, for her to make something like that happen.
Well, as we mentioned, this is the third time Olszewski's fought 10 rounds. The first time, after only 4 pro fights, she went over to Italy to fight Stefania Bianchini for the world title and went home with a majority draw, which on the road, Al, she probably won the fight.
Yeah, and ironically is mandated to fight for the WBC flyweight title against the woman Bianchini lost to, Simona Galassi, and may get that chance even if she loses this fight.
Yeah, she is the mandatory challenger. Now, what the BC will do, they have some rules that if you go and challenge for other titles that, you may get stripped of your rankings. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Well, one thing we can say about women's boxing, like men's, they learned about the organizations, didn't they?
Oh, they learned, yeah. The alphabet land is just as treacherous and maybe even more so.
Right, step back.
But
another good round for Moreno as she continues to take the action to Eileen Olszewski.
By the way, you mentioned Moreno coming up to 208, and 108. And wondering whether she would go back down. And actually, she has a fight already scheduled in August in Lemoore, California, back down at 105. So she is planning to go back down.
A woman of her word.
Good stiff jab right there by Moreno.
They might not like her jab in her corner, but I think it's pretty good.
Right, step back.
Right away.
Stop. Okay.
The 26-year-old Carina Moreno has shown us really all of her skills tonight. There's a good combination on the inside. She's shown the ability to body punch. She's shown the ability to rough up Eileen Olszewski on the inside, and that's a nice 3-punch combination, whatever gender you are. That's just superb boxing, and then she moves around the ring to see if she can find another angle to hit Olszewski with.
Okay. Take a look in the corner there of Olszewski, and she's got some, for obvious reasons, a lot of puffiness going around the eyes right now. But Al, she's also in territory right now where she needs a knockout.
Yeah, there's very little doubt, I think, that Olszewski is in a precarious situation, at least a knockdown, at the very least.
Box.
And to follow up on our conversation between rounds, Eileen Olszewski certainly in a territory right now where she needs, as you mentioned, at least a knockdown to start to pull closer on the scorecards, if not a knockout to win this fight.
And the problem is that the punch that might do that, maybe a good straight right hand as Moreno's coming in, hasn't been forthcoming from Olszewski. She's been throwing some wide looping hooks and overhand rights that are not too straight, and those are not big, powerful punches for her.
Coming in, though, highly acclaimed. Majority decision win over Elena Rita was, I don't want to mislead anybody, that was a very close fight in New York, nevertheless, but she did pull out the decision.
And Elena Rita, a top woman boxer, many people know her name, so it was a very good win for her. And you know, Olszewski is 39 years of age, and even though she hasn't had a lot of matches, she could be reaching the point where maybe this sport, she might be headed toward the end of it. She said, she's not sure how much longer she would want to continue. She was going to evaluate, and this match has been a tough one against Moreno.
And whatever that weakness was that she said she saw, she certainly hasn't been able to employ any effective aggression by using it.
I think they believed that from the outside she could outbox Moreno, but she never really was able to do that. And I think they thought Moreno would walk into some counter punches. And that happened only for the first minute or two of this fight, and then after that, it changed radically.
Now, there was an interesting thing. She threw an uppercut on the inside of Moreno and caught her pretty good, but that's the only first time in the whole fight I've seen her throw an uppercut.
Right, step back.
Moreno working very well on the inside.
Well, we're going to see what kind of caution to the wind Olszewski throws in the 10th, and she certainly needs it.